Hello and welcome back to the Stadia Source Roundtable Podcast, your number one source for spooky Stadia news and reviews. This is the Stadia Source Roundtable Podcast. My name is Winifred Sanderson, and we've got a marvelous show for tonight. So let's get to it. With me tonight, we have Dom. Spooky Dom. Beside him, we have your undead Dan.
Hi, guys.
We've also got the Lone Wanderer, Scarlet.
I don't know if y'all can hear me. I'm taking this off now.
We've got F10 Mario.
Hi, sorry, I couldn't get any costumes, so I just got back from work.
Fixing bugs. You may know our first guest tonight as one of the hosts of the Rotating Chair Horror Film Podcast, or the hair-raising, scary stuff he streams at twitch.tv/dark_Crowe. It's Crowe!
Hey! I didn't know we were doing costumes. It was just date night with me and my wife tonight. So.
And our next guest, as the content manager and one of the wicked writers behind the terribly frightening NoSleep Podcast, or as one of the developers behind Richard and Alice, Tourist, and the Charnel House trilogy of games, it's Olivia White.
Hello, and apparently my audio's bad, and I apologise in advance. I don't know how to fix anything. I work on a podcast and I know nothing about audio, sorry.
we set up an EVP and she's coming to us from the other side. That's at least what we'll say for the purpose of this.
I don't have a camera either. I do, but it only just arrived today.
No worries at all.
I'm very organised. I'm a very organised person.
Well, we're glad to have you both on tonight. Before we get started, did you know you can get... I'm not going to do that voice the whole time. That would be way too much, and I would just... it would be terrible. Did you know you can get The Roundtable as an actual podcast? Search for Stadia Source on Spotify, Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get podcasts. Also, if you're watching us live, we want you to be a part of the conversation. Say hi in the chat. And if you want to be sure we bring your message up during the show, use the Super Chat or Super Sticker feature to get to show your support for Stadia Source. And last but not least, you can join Stadia Source right here on YouTube. Members get amazing perks, such as exclusive community play live streams, early access to videos, and Stadia Source merch. So click the join button down below to learn more and become a member. So we want to get started and give our guests an opportunity to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves. So Crowe, we'll let you go first. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your gaming history and your experience with cloud gaming and scary games and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been a lifelong gamer. One of my earliest memories was getting the NES for Christmas with my brother, you know. It's just been a forever thing. I can't imagine my life without games. It's almost like books and movies and music at this point. It's such an important piece of media to me. And yeah, I started streaming about a year ago because I got bored one night and I didn't know what else to do. And here I am a year later with a podcast, a stream, and, you know, a life online, which I did not expect. And I tried out Stadia when it first launched, and I'm kind of in love with the idea of not having to pick up anything, you know, out of the box. I can just plug and play, use my phone. My only complaint with Stadia is give me more horror games, because I'm a horror game streamer for anybody who wants to stop by the stream, and that's what I live for. Silent Hill 2 broke me as a fan of the medium. I was just like, this is what I want in the future. And the horror genre, especially within games, it allows, I think, for more personal storytelling than you typically get, because it isn't about empowering you with like a they're not giving you like a god complex, or like you're not going on a hero's journey. They're usually very wounded, very real, very personal stories. And I don't know, as a guy, as your typical repressed American male, it's tough for me to express myself. So at least horror and horror games give me a reason to, give me an outlet to do that, you know.
Later tonight. I kept saying I would stop doing that voice, and it's not going to happen. Olivia, tell us a bit about you and your experience with games and your experience with Stadia.
Okay, so, I mean, I've been playing games since I was a very little kid. I first played Attic Attack on the Spectrum. That was my first ever game, so kind of a horror game to start with there. And I've loved horror forever, so obviously horror games are my thing as well. And I used to work as a games journalist, writing for a newspaper and for places like GameSpot, so yeah, and then I moved into making horror games because that was a natural step. So I've always sort of loved what horror can do with the interactive medium. Basically what Crowe said, like, horror in games is such a important medium for like interactivity, how horror can be approached differently. There's stuff that you can do in horror games that it's just not possible in any other horror medium. So it's a very exciting medium, and I want to contribute to that as a game developer myself. I don't have a huge amount of experience with Stadia, but I have used it, and I was extremely impressed because obviously I'm in the UK and our internet is not quite up to scratch. So I wasn't sure how well it would work, and I played I started off by playing the Immortals Phoenix Rising demo, and it was just flawless. It was smooth as butter. A slightly noticeable resolution drop because of my internet not being great, but I was really impressed with it, and I think once there's like a huge amount of games on offer, definitely needs more horror games, like Crowe said, but once there's more games on offer, I think it's a really, really promising platform. I think it's very exciting what can be done with cloud streaming now.
Absolutely, and heavens knows we're a fan of it, or I guess hell knows. No, I don't. Okay, that's that. Well, we're glad to have you both on the show tonight to talk the latest Stadia news, as well as the spooky side of Stadia for our Halloween, which we'll be talking about in just a little bit. So let's get the party started with what our normal first segment, which is what have we been playing, and I'll start this one and go around the table. So this week, what I have been playing, Stadia or otherwise, I have been doing a lot more of course, I finished playing more on the demos. We'll talk about the demos in the news roundup and just kind of give our wrap up of those. But also played a little bit more Fall Guys, because I'm going to get a crown. I'm going to do it. I'm getting a crown. I don't know how hard I have to work on this, but I will get one. Yeah, that's about it. I didn't really get a lot of game time this week. It's been a busy week at work, but I tried. So, played a few things. Dom, what have you played this week, Stadia or otherwise?
So I streamed Dead by Daylight on Tuesday, was it? And I've been playing that pretty much every day. Nearly rank 1 now on Survivor, and I've just got to sort of rank 6 on Killer. So I should be, in about a week's time, rank 1 on both, hopefully, fingers crossed. Also been playing Phasmophobia with some friends, which I'm not sure if Crowe or you've heard of. If you're, yeah. I mean, it's a massive game at the moment.
Yeah.
I haven't played it, but I need to.
It's fantastic. And if from what I understand, it's only a one-man dev team or something. So it's incredible impressive for what it is.
Yeah.
And he's constantly updating. Like there's a patch today and stuff to fix some bugs and stuff. But it's a great horror game. You basically play as a ghost hunter with friends, and it's just terrifying but fun.
Very, very good. Dan, what have you been playing this week from the other side?
So obviously I jumped into the Bomberman stream that you hosted on Sunday, played some Bomberman there. I've also been playing what's it called, a Monopoly and Uno with the missus. I've been playing the Crown Tundra DLC on Pokemon Shield because that came out the other day and I'm a massive Pokemon fan, so unfortunately no horror games for you this evening, but yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Sometimes you need a release or relief from the scary. Olivia, what have you been playing in the past little bit?
Okay, this week I've been playing 3 really fun indie games. First was a card game, a digital card game called Ring of Pain, which is a very fun card horror roguelike, which I strongly recommend. And then I played through a game called Pumpkin Jack, which is like a third-person platform game inspired by Medieval, the old PlayStation game, where you play Jack, the famous trickster, and he's a pumpkin now. So I played through that. That was really fun. And then most recently, and I'm still playing through it, is Glassheart Games' Vigil: The Longest Night, published by another indie, which is a Metroidvania, very Symphony of the Night feel, very good horror vibes and aesthetic, sort of medieval Dark Souls feel to the world. Loads of great characters and writing. I'm really, really enjoying that at the moment. So I strongly recommend that one. Vigil: The Longest Night.
Very fun. Ftendo, what's been on your dad time gaming and beyond?
Well, I was extremely addicted to Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle. That was a blast. I was very sad to see that demo go and looking forward to that game releasing. And now I am addicted to Sekiro. That game is very hard. Very hard.
Have you been dying twice or 3 times or 4 times?
Yeah, I died a couple times so far. Not too many. My controllers are not broken yet, so we're good.
Very good. Crowe, what's been on your playlist?
Oh wow, we streamed Monstrum on Monday, which is a very fun kind of first-person horror roguelike amnesia type game. We did Perception on Tuesday, where you play as a blind protagonist who uses kind of echolocation to move through a haunted house. Last night we streamed Man of Medan from Supermassive, who did the Until Dawn.
Coming to Stadia. Not those games, but Supermassive is working on a project with Stadia.
Oh, very nice. I enjoyed that studio a lot. If you're a fan of like direct-to-video B horror, they replicate it perfectly for games.
Night Trap.
Yes, they do.
It's so wonderful. And then tonight, The Long Dark starts its Halloween event. So that's what I've been doing this week, is gearing up for Long Dark and preparing to die every 3 minutes.
Very fun. And Scarlett, what have you been playing this week?
As ever, the black sheep. Phoenix Rising. Cake Bash. I like my happy little cupcakes. I finally just finished up Isle of Armor in Pokemon Sword, so I'll be moving on to Crown Tundra there soon. Yeah. I like
cool.
my
Now,
happy games.
did you put in about 48 hours in the demo? Like, is there even a single pixel you haven't seen on that island?
Not quite 40 hours, no, but probably more than they wanted somebody to. And I still have to get my husband to play it, but that's cool. We're working on it.
I was
No
glued to the
worries.
stream, Scarlett. I had more fun watching you play it than I did myself.
I'm in the same boat. I played it and it was like
Because
10
I'm the
minutes.
rabbit.
This is good.
Because I'd already watched Scarlett's stream, so I didn't really need to play it for myself. I mean, I will obviously when the game comes out, but
Yeah.
Definitely need to. Yeah.
And then sneaking up on us, Where's Anthony? Ah!
Whoa.
Holy shit, that's terrifying. Those of you who are listening to the podcast after the fact are not seeing this horrifying sight of our man coming to murder us all. Anthony.
What's up, guys?
What up, man?
Listen, I've been sitting here. So I wear this every year, right? For like maybe, I don't know, 12 years. I cut up my stuff, made a little Jason outfit. But over the weekend, I was scaring my granddaughter, and we had a little kid's birthday party, and my mask got broke. So this whole time, I'm listening to you guys in my ear, and I'm trying to fix my mask. My wife's like, "You better just get on the show. You're not gonna be able to fix it." I'm like, "They gotta fix my mask." Darn it!
Jason meets Phantom of the Opera.
Anyway, how's it going, guys? Sorry for being late, but I was trying to fix my mask, and
You're good.
wasn't working.
No worries. You're just in time to tell us what you've been playing this week, Stadia or otherwise.
So the whole time I'm listening to you guys, so I've heard everything. So that's cool. So I heard everything you guys have been playing, which is cool. Which was cool. I did a version of the Power Hour Plus last night on my channel, and so I'll be doing that again tonight after podcast. So it was cool. I played some Power Rangers, And man, that's a fun fighting game, man. That is some people may look at it like, who's playing that as a fighting game? But it's a lot of fun. Man, I was just playing a bunch of random games. I got to play some more Phoenix Rising. Didn't do as great of a job with it as Scarlet did last Sunday. But that was cool. Scarlet, man, I see it has some cool puzzles. I did that little rock or puzzle where I had to figure out the balls and put them all on there. That was driving me crazy. I was going to quit like 80 times. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of stuff. I played some Marvel Avengers the other day. As you know, I love that game. I played that for a couple hours the other day. That's my main game, and then I just play a bunch of other stuff. I played some Grid last night. That was pretty cool. It was good to get back on there. I actually played some Elder Scrolls last night. So I played that, did a couple missions, did a little dungeon, met a lady that said, "Oh, can you go and get my jewels back from my husband?" Found him. He was a ghost, and he said she actually killed me. Would you take the possessed jewels and give it back to her? I was like, I don't know, what should I do? All right, fine, I'm gonna give it to her. Gave it to her, and then she walked away. I was like, yeah, and then dropped dead. I was like, oh my god. But anyway, I've been playing a lot of stuff, guys. So
Anthony taking us on a journey there.
You asked, and I told you. So let me
Well, we'll say hi to the folks in the chat before we even got started. Raven Anime saying Pika, so we appreciate that. We got Kevin Webb, one of our newest staff writers. Good to see you. Lumberjack, one of our members. Good to have them there. Dist Zero. No, I am not meant to be your mom. Not even gonna respond to that. Red Raven, good to see you. Link TV. Good to see you as well. John Nisbet agrees with you, Olivia. Ring of Pain is really good. Color with the spooky. Alex Cruz Hernandez here to say hi, one of the No Sleep fans and followers there. And Nakanu, wondering if Scarlett has considered the full
Alex
follow.
is actually our social media person, works for us. She's my PA as well.
Fantastic. Nice. Alex, good to see you, and the horrible things that you post online, but it's intentional because it's a horror podcast. So if you didn't, it'd be pretty bad. And Chris saying hi as well. So good to see all of y'all in the chat. Let's get started and talk about the week's news. The good stuff demos. So we just finished up our week of Stadia, giving us good stuff, free stuff, 3 free games, Pac-Man, Immortals Phoenix Rising, and of course, Humankind, which I think is unfortunately I heard a lot of people talking about Pac-Man. I heard a lot of people talking about Immortals. And there are that many people talking about Humankind. I'm sure it was great, and I'm sure everybody loved it. But Scarlett, you got to give us, now that you've had some time for it to soak in, give us your real review of Phoenix Rising and how excited you are for it. And I've been told I have audio issues, so I'm going to drop and come right back in. So, right. Scarlett, tell us about your Immortals Phoenix time.
So, yeah. Okay. So, I am a big fan of Breath of the Wild. I'm a big fan of the style of Odyssey and all of the Assassin's Creed. I'm a big fan of the combat system. I'm a big fan of like how Shadow of War and all of those, like how all of those had their combat systems, and then the art style of Breath of the Wild. So like literally this game is a marriage between the two of those styles, and it is so good. Like playing it on Stadia, is not a disappointment in like at all. Like everything was super smooth, everything was super clean. I have fairly good internet, so I was lucky enough not to ever experience any kind of like drop in resolution or anything like that. And it's so much fun to explore. Chop down trees, do it, because if you haven't, you need to. Launch all of the bears. You hit them with a good enough attack and they just go flying, and it's the funniest thing ever. It's so good. If you haven't tried the demo, you need to. I don't know if it's still in there today. Does anybody know? No, I don't know if today's the last day.
I think it's gone.
If yesterday was.
Yeah.
It's gone? Dang it. And I just told somebody that it was there. My bad. I thought it was still going to be there today.
In just a few weeks.
If you missed out though, go watch anybody's gameplay. I mean, you're welcome to come watch
Yeah.
mine. You might get a little bit annoyed that I wander all over the place, but go watch people's gameplay of this and decide for yourself, because you should pre-order this. Give the game the support that it deserves. It is so good.
I almost feel like you could use Scarlett's playthrough as like the ASMR, fall asleep. She's like, oh, and what's it? Oh, it's a butterfly over here. And then, oh yeah, I knocked down that tree. And it was almost peaceful. Even when she was, oh, and I killed those guys. And you're like, oh, okay.
Remember, I don't have a problem killing people, right? So
that's
She did
true.
say that.
Olivia, I know you got to play a little bit of the demos as well. What were your
Yeah.
on that?
I'm going to echo what Scarlett said. I thought it was just absolutely fantastic. It had very sort of Breath of the Wild, but with more to it in a more condensed area kind of feel. So there was just like every single time you turn a corner or go anywhere, there's just something new to find. And I didn't get anywhere close to discovering everything that the demo had to offer, because I thought, right, I'm sold on this. I'm definitely getting this. So I sort of played through like the main missions. Sorry, yeah.
No, sorry. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it too.
Right, yeah. No, it was so good. It was just like, I'm gonna lose literally hundreds of hours to this when it comes out, because it's just this type of game where I'm just gonna want to do everything and experiment with everything, and because I didn't
And that's
know
the beauty of the
anything
game
about it.
too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's just, well, I didn't know anything about it when I went in, so what you're saying, like the discovery stuff, is that was a huge appeal to me. Like, I didn't know that you could climb rock faces, for instance. So when I was trying to get back to the Cyclops, I was like, I've got no idea how I'm supposed to get there. And then I jumped into a cliff and realised I could climb it, and it was just like, I see how the game works now. And yeah, everything you said is 100% true, and it's just, I'm so excited for it to come out. It's like my perfect game.
Supposedly there were three mini quests or side quests in the game, and I only ever found one of them, the arrow shooting where you had to hit all the hoops. Did anybody else find any of the other mini quests that were there?
I didn't find anything like that. I didn't want to play too much because I knew that I'm going to lose so many hours to it in December that I thought I'm just going to see enough and then wait until it comes out, or try and blag a copy early from someone.
Ubisoft, we want to.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on any of the good stuff demos or that you want to share?
I'm just going to be black sheep. I didn't really enjoy Immortals. So,
that's it. Dom and Scarlett are going to just.
But that's not the kind of game that I normally play, right? So I generally, like, I can't actually remember the last single player game I played, because I play with friends constantly, or I play multiplayer games like Dead by Daylight, like Phasmophobia, like Call of Duty. Like I don't really do story-driven games because I personally just find them a bit repetitive and boring. And I'm not one of those people that can explore every nook and cranny. I just want to be like, right, get the story done, let's go. Yeah, I liked Humankind though. So like
the one person that played Humankind, it was Dom.
I couldn't work that game out for the life of me.
No, so
I wanted to like it, but I just could not work out what I was doing at all.
The devs basically said that they haven't done a tutorial yet, which will be in for the full release. And about 2 days into the demo, they released a video on Twitter, basically explaining some of the basics, which helped kind of get a better understanding. I'm excited for its release. It's cool.
Yeah, presumably they'll do an actual tutorial when the actual game comes out. One can only hope. Anthony, what did you think of the demos?
Pac-Man. That's it, man.
That says it all right there.
I was so into Pac-Man. First of all, right, I like the battle royale aspect, right? Period. I always thought the battle royale genre of video games was cool because for me it was the most recent new genre of gaming, right? So we have fighting games, we have adventure games, we have you name it, right? But when Fortnite and H1Z1 and PUBG and all that came on the scene, it brought a new thing for gaming, right? And that's why I like Stadia so much, because what's the next gen gonna do? It's just gonna be better looking games, but Stadia is bringing features, right? So for me, when you were super into Bomberman, and I was like, okay, I can't play Bomberman, but let me play on the Charm City. I thought was cool is elimination. Even for me, like wrestling, my favorite match is elimination match. So to have Pac-Man, one of my favorite games, in a battle royale style elimination, find out who's really the Pac genius. That's what I call myself. Just so you know, F, I'm the Pac genius.
Get out of here.
Yeah, man, Pac-Man. I can't wait, man. I'm buying Pac-Man day one. But Immortal Phoenix Rising is cool. A big open world game. Not only can you just run around and hack things, but you could glide. I think a lot of people are going to like that. And then what I found out last night was when I was gliding, I jumped in the water. I'm like, okay, you probably can't swim in this game. Like, oh, you could dive and swim too. Whoa. So I think that's going to be cool. Also, I think the way they show her levitate and pick things up is a cool touch to show that she's really powerful. So she holds things like big boulders over her head, right? So that's cool. But I didn't play Humankind. I didn't get a chance to. I was kind of busy and I was a little bit sick. But I never played it. But I watched a ton of Blue Vibes. He was playing it forever. And I sat there at work watching like his stream forever. So I think I learned a lot from watching his stream. But yeah, Pac-Man, man. The Pac-Man demo I thought was really cool.
We'll have those games coming out soon. I'll be honest, I didn't even launch Humankind. Like, it's an interesting game, but I just did. Everybody was saying I don't have, like, you don't not. I was good. I like strategy game. It's not mine. Dom's not a big first person. I'm not a strategy gamer, so it kind of works. Speaking of games, and there are a lot of them to speak of, we got our pro games drop for November, and for the third month in a row, we are getting 6 pro games, including 3 that are brand new to the platform: Sniper Elite 4, Risk of Rain 2, The Gardens Between, Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek, Republique, and Sundered Eldritch Edition. Some of those are existing to the platform. We have, for example, already had Risk of Rain came out a couple months ago, Republique came out several months ago, and Sundered came out several months ago as well. But Gardens Between, new on Stadia, Hide and Seek, new on Stadia, and Sniper Elite 4, new on Stadia. Anybody particularly excited about any of these games? I will say for myself, Risk of Rain, I've seen a lot of folks talk about that game and how fun it is. And it's the $30 or below game. I can't put money down on a game on Stadia that's under $30 because I know eventually I'm just going to get it for free. Same thing with Sundered. I knew I was just going to get it eventually if I waited long enough, and sure enough. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing Risk of Rain. I've heard amazing things about The Gardens Between, another indie title that had a lot of acclaim. Republique, I've heard, is a little on the bogey side. But yeah, a lot of games here. Dan, anything in this set that is particularly exciting for you?
Hello Neighbor. I mean, that Hello Neighbor is quite popular in the community anyway. So another Hello Neighbor game is going to be even better.
Is it?
Yeah. No, well, not necessarily in the Stadia community, but like it does have quite a big following elsewhere on the web. So, and we're supposed to be getting obviously Secret Neighbor potentially and Hello Engineer, which are all part of the Hello Neighbor universe as well. So I think it's right at home.
The Hello Neighbor cinematic universe.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see Anthony play it because you played the last one, didn't you?
Well, I keep saying the other ones are multiplayer, so somebody got to play with me.
See, I mean, me and you, Anthony, we'll finally take on Mr. Wilson together, as you call him. Crowe, have any of these games been on your radar?
I keep intending to get into the Hello Neighbor thing. I'm a horror variety streamer who's never played Hello Neighbor, and Five Nights at Freddy's are my 2 big, like, I never played these.
Wow.
Yeah, and Risk of Rain has looked interesting.
Yep. Dom, what's on this list of interest to you?
Sniper Elite 4. I've played Sniper Elite 3. on
so bad
PC
at
a while
those.
ago.
The threequel.
Yeah, and Sniper Elite 4 it's got like exclusive HDR on Stadia. Woo. It's just kind of like fun little game. Because it's made by, I can't remember the name of the devs, but they gave us Zombie Army 4 and Strange Brigade. So it's got similar mechanics where if you take a good shot and it goes through their skull, you kind of see the bullet going through their skull and cracking and stuff. It's kind of cool. Risk of Rain, I'm also looking forward. I didn't think it'd be a pro game. I'm surprised by that, to be fair.
It just came out like 2 months
That's
ago.
what I mean, yeah. And like I'm glad because I wanted to get it, and I kind of was like on that border of, am I actually going to play it? Maybe not. But now it's pro. I'll play it. And say it. That's all that really interested me, I think.
Yeah. I know, Olivia, I know you're a big fan of some of the indie titles out there. Have any of these been on your radar?
Yes, Risk of Rain 2 is absolutely fantastic. Full disclosure, I briefly worked with the developers of Risk of Rain back when they did the first game. I helped them with the release of it when they were with Chucklefish. And they're just a really talented team, and Risk of Rain 2 is just fantastic, so that's going to be a huge treat for Stadia Pro subscribers. Sundered, I've played through that as well. That was really fun. The additions they've made to it since it first came out has made the game a lot better as well. It was a little bit of a grind to start with, but it's very good now. And I haven't played Republic or Gardens Between Us, but Sniper Elite 4 is fantastic as well. It's more open world than the others, and that's just a really good lineup of games there. And Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek is, I think, was my favourite Hello Neighbor one. So
there you go. Until Hello Engineer first on Stadia.
Yeah,
you know.
Very good, strong lineup there. Lots of fun stuff.
Absolutely. Carly, anything in this list of particular interest to you?
That'd be a no.
I mean, I've heard a lot about Risk of Rain, so I'll probably at least check it out. The Gardens Between looks kind of fun. I like puzzle games. And Sundered seems interesting, so probably those three. I probably won't even claim the other ones because that's what I do. But yeah.
I thought you started to claim more games, even if they weren't in your wheelhouse.
No, I only did Dead by Daylight because it's easier to deal with when it's a bunch of you yahoos playing. So there.
You heard it here first. It's easier to play Dead by Daylight when it's you yahoos from the Stadia Source Stream Team Dream Team. Anthony, any of these games been on your radar?
Risk of Rain.
Anthony, audio medium for most people. So, for those of you who are listening to the podcast after the fact, Anthony's doing visual humor.
Is Risk of Rain, that's the one that's like a 4-player multiplayer?
Yeah, the roguelike procedural generated shenanigans.
I've heard though that some people said it's more fun single player.
Okay. Well, that looks cool when I was watching the videos. And then there's one other one. Which one is the one that they said is kind of sort of like Castlevania-ish a little bit?
Sundered.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm old school. That's like a back in the day Castlevania. When you think of 2D side scroller, Double Dragon. So I don't mind playing like a good 1-player game like that. I'm interested. That's why I like Monster Boy when that came out. That's that 2D. Side scroll. So, and it looks pretty cool. Like you jumping in the air, you got special powers. So those two games particularly I'm interested in.
Very, very fun. Well, speaking of games we're all interested in that we're not going to get to play for a while, of course, unless you're living under a rock, you've heard Cyberpunk 2077 and just announced today Far Cry 6, both delayed. So unfortunately, we won't be seeing those games until just a little bit longer. The Cyberpunk delay came from CD Projekt Red, where basically they're saying they got a lot of platforms to test on, and a lot of folks took that to mean, well, hey, Stadia. You just said Stadia, so that means it's Stadia's fault, right? And of course, the devs have come out and said, no. Stadia is basically like a PC port. It's the current gen consoles that are problems. So PS4 owners and Xbox One owners, I'm just saying, it's, that's why we're not getting Cyberpunk on time. But December 10th. So this at least gets people a little bit of extra time to play Watch Dogs, and a little bit of extra time to play whatever comes out for Stadia's 1-year anniversary. And I mean, for this game, it's been delayed so many times. So at this point, what's one more delay?
There's
Did
that
anybody
joke in there that it's going to come out in 2077? So
eventually, we will get this game on the Xbox Theta Alpha 17 Plus Port 360. Did anybody put the pre-order money down or put the credit card down on this one?
I did for my wife. Yeah.
No.
I don't typically pre-order stuff, but she's like, we have to get it. I'm okay with
I was
delays.
gifted a copy.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
A good friend of mine. Ready for September. And, well, it was a birthday present for September, and then the delays happened. But I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. Games shouldn't be rushed. And
Agree.
studios shouldn't be pushed to crunch because people want to play something.
Agreed.
Yeah, they've been talking about,
and we should sort of encourage that. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of they've been talking about like the 100-hour work weeks that some of the team members are going through right now, and I'm like,
it shouldn't happen. Game development is very, very intense and stressful, and people. Because it's like the end product is so fun and wonderful, people tend to sort of overlook the fact it is a very, very hard job.
Yep.
And we should sympathise with developers and not encourage them to put in crunch work hours,
Well, it's like Miyamoto said, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rush game is forever bad.
Yep.
Yep.
Dan, you stole my tweet.
Benefits.
Well, nowadays with updates, I guess you could always just patch a bad game.
Yeah, that is
But
true.
first impressions are such a huge thing.
That's true.
No Man's Sky fought against them for what, years? 2-3 years?
Hey, look at one of my favorite games. Guys stabbed me with a cross. Wait, that didn't make sense. Anyway, but Anthem. I mean, Anthem's one of my favorite games, but people will not give it a chance. So.
I saw a Reddit post today from an alleged Cyberpunk dev, basically saying that the day one patch is going to be massive, and it's even with this extra delay, they still think, like, this dev personally thought that they should delay it further to make it like an absolute masterpiece of a game, rather than
I would rather they did that personally.
I think the game will still be really good in December, but I have a feeling there will still be bugs and slight issues with the game. But if they delayed it till like February, March next year, and they really just Q&A'd the hell out of it and made it perfect, then I think it'd be like a 10 out of 10 game.
I would happily wait till March for it if it meant releasing the game that they want to release.
I think I agree, Olivia. I think most sensible people would wait. However, then I've also seen the tweet from one of the devs about the death threats and stuff, and it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, don't do that. If you're a person going on Twitter thinking that that's the solution to the Cyberpunk delay, you're not correct by a long shot. You're also a piece of trash. But beyond that, you're not going to get the game faster. Well, Big Daddy 42069 haha said he's going to kill my dog if I don't release the game. So I guess we better go ahead. No. That's not a winning solution for you at all. Don't do that.
I'll be honest, right? So I'm a big fan of the Avengers, right? And the game was originally supposed to come out in May, and it got delayed back to September, right? So you figure around 6 months. But they probably should have delayed it another 6 months, because how annoying is it when your favorite game gets day one patch, then another bug patch, and another bug patch, and
it wasn't ready to come out, was it? It's not at a stage where it feels like it's finished now.
You're playing it,
and I love that game.
Yeah, you're playing it and you're noticing the bugs. Like, you're visually like I could protect it as much as I want because I like the fundamentals of the game. But when certain of the bugs happen, like whole accounts being deleted by mistake, like stuff like that shouldn't is there a game testing division? Because I don't know.
It's the tough thing with like both, I think, games and movies is that we like to look at them as art forms, as media, but they're also businesses. It's commerce. It's always that fight between artistic integrity and we need to make money because we've invested millions of dollars into this and we need to make it now. It's I don't envy them in the position
And even
to go in.
Even CD Projekt Red on an earnings call, I saw. I can't remember who it was that tweeted it out, but basically was like the investors were asking, so you've delayed it and you're saying it's definitely coming out on December 10th. And they were like, yeah, I mean, that's the goal. Like, but it's definitely coming, right? He's like, I would say that is when we're going to try to put the game out. Like, you're hedging your bets. And that's fine. Just give it a couple more.
And then you
We're
fast
gonna
forward
wait.
to that person when they're an old man, and it's like, truth be told, we didn't even make the game. I've seen that somewhere as a meme.
I just took the money and went to my yacht, and that's the people making those calls. But we also heard about I know Scarlett. I'm going to guess that this delay doesn't really hurt you too much in the feels.
Well, I mean, not like personally, like I'm not interested in the game to play it. I'm interested in what it's going to bring to the gaming community because loads of people are looking forward to this. And if anything, people need like a solid game to kind of just escape into right now when they have the time. So one of the beauties of Stadia is you can literally hop into this on your phone on your lunch break at work. So then they can like relax playing, well, maybe not relax, I don't know how high tense this game is going to be, but they can enjoy something that's like a solid hardcore game. And so I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the value that it's bringing because it may not be my game, but I love games as a whole and what it can do for people. So I mean, I'm a little frustrated for people. I'm not frustrated myself, but also I am more than willing to wait for something to be in a sense perfected. So like I've been waiting forever for Avatar 2. And who knows when that's going to happen. So I'm okay
There
with
were
waiting.
nursery kids who are now graduating high school who will not see the release of that game before they get out of college. So, or that movie.
Yeah,
he's like, no,
movie.
it's done. It's done. They're all done. I'm like, well, then put them out already.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm excited for people for when it does come out. I'm excited to see people rally around this and like show their love for it because it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool for those who do play it.
Yep.
We're
also going to
the game. Like, if it comes out before, like, if it comes out on Stadia before Xbox and PlayStation, like,
Oh
I
my
can
god!
just see the amount of people.
Oh, the
that are like-
pitchforks. The pitchforks.
yeah.
Well,
Because
we said we were delaying it for most platforms, but here's Stadia.
I know. Well, I'm thinking more of even if they come out at the same time, right? Unless you can
Right.
pre-install it, but then you said that there's like a massive day one patch. So with Stadia, we don't have to wait for patches and updates and stuff like that. They just are there. So literally, as soon as we press buy, we're playing, whereas they're sat for waiting for a 50 gigabyte download or something like that, and then to install it. And I'm wondering if that's going to have somewhat of an effect, on the wider gaming community when they see people already streaming the game on YouTube, for example. Yeah, everybody else is sitting there waiting for a patch to download and install. So
And who
Maybe
knows,
I'll
by
get the
that
game
point-
just to do that. Like I'm playing. Look at
Rub it
me,
in
I'm
and
so
really stream
cool.
I don't have any.
And then never
interest-
touch it again.
I don't have any interest in getting Cyberpunk, but it's such a big deal. It's going to play a big role. Exactly what Dan is talking about. It's going to play a big role, and I think we talked about this before on another podcast. But that game's going to play a big role on Stadia because it's going to be one of the most. It is one of the most anticipated games this year. It's going to come out, and if some people are having issues or whatever, you're going to see Stadia people just playing it free. And I almost feel like I want to get into the hype. Like I almost want to buy it because I have no interest, right? Like it looks cool, but I don't even know why so many people are hyped. Like, is it like a game that was supposed to come out 1 million years ago and finally is? Like, I don't even understand the hype.
Yeah.
Like everybody, like, please somebody
It's been in
explain it.
development for like 5 years, I think, and
It's the follow up to Witcher 3.
revealed and
Yeah, it's made by a
revealed and
studio that
teased
made.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I could see if it was literally like the follow up to Witcher 3, like Witcher Part 4, right? But it has nothing to do with The Witcher. So it's just, and it's a new IP, right? This isn't a part
It
2
isn't
or
a new
anything,
IP.
right?
It isn't.
I
a new
think
IP.
it's a pen and paper RPG.
It is.
I think.
Yeah,
It is, right?
it's got a huge, it's got decades of followers.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
it has
know
a-
anything about the pen and paper, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a massive following for a new game, you know? So it almost make me feel like I want to just jump in. Like, all right, I don't know anything, but you know what? Keanu Reeves in it. I guess I'll get it for that. Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And of course that's not the only game impacted by delays. Far Cry 6 also being pushed back a little bit to sometime next year. They haven't gotten super specific on that, but it'll probably be sometime March, April time zone of next year. So it happens, folks.
I
It
I
happens.
didn't even know there was a Far Cry 6, to be honest.
There you go.
That's,
It's
that was the
starring.
first I heard of it.
Yeah, it's got the main character is modeled off of Giancarlo Esposito. So if you're a fan of Breaking Bad or Once Upon a Time, he was Sidney Glass in that one. That's how I know him. He's
All
been
the
in other
boys,
things.
He's in the
All
boys.
the boys,
yeah,
yes.
the boy.
Yeah. Love that show.
So, couple of other headlines that we're gonna breeze right past very quickly. Though it would a news story in and of itself. Ubisoft Plus has officially been confirmed as coming by the end of 2020. So we will have Ubisoft Plus, formerly known as Uplay Plus, by the end of the year. And I've seen a lot of folks tweeting basically, well, I'm just not going to buy Watch Dogs because I'm just going to pay the subscription. I'm not going to buy Immortals. I'm just going to pay the subscription. I'm not going to buy Valhalla. So, hey, by the end of the year, you'll at least have 3 pretty huge titles to play on Ubisoft Plus when it comes. 2 other big games released, as we mentioned. Watch Dogs Legion released this week, and Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Any Ubisoft folks already jumped into Watch Dogs Legion?
Briefly, yeah.
I'm one of those people that's going to wait for Uplay Plus or Ubisoft Plus, whatever it's called. And there's also seems to be quite a few bugs in Watch Dogs Legions.
Yeah, how have you found it so far, Olivia?
I've kind of only sort of set it up and had a look at the start and look at the tutorial, so I haven't really played it properly, but looks to be everything I wanted it to be. I don't know how well it runs or if there's bugs yet. I'm playing on PC, so I guess we'll find out tonight. But it looks like really fantastic. I loved the second one particularly, so it seems like they've made a very good follow-up to it. Very atmospheric. I love the start of it. So I'm looking forward to getting properly into that this weekend.
And we'll get the second one and the first one on Stadia probably by the end of the year when that Ubisoft Plus launches. That's what everybody kind of sort of figures on that. Sekiro, anybody playing that one on Stadia or elsewhere?
No.
I gameplayed it and played it for a couple weeks. I'm not really into the Dark Souls stuff where the game is so hard your brain wants to melt. But it was pretty cool. And again, it was Game of the Year last year. So it's a beautiful looking game. The controls are really good. Like, it's really a good game to show off on Stadia and show the power of Stadia. But I think it's one of those games where it's supposed to be the whole thing is supposed to be so intense and you will die more than twice. So, but the little time I played with was really good. So I guess it's 30. I think it's $38.99. Maybe if it drops on a sale, I might actually get it.
I think it's maybe the most accessible thing out of the Soulsborne series. Like, I think even people who don't like Soulsborne games can jump into Sekiro and be like, yeah, this is cool.
I wonder if there's a special achievement you can get for only dying twice. In the game. One would certainly help.
Don't think that's possible.
And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that our good buddies at Nintendo are kind of sort of expanding themselves into the game space a little bit more. We've got Control and somebody with a Switch. Remind me of the other game.
Hitman.
Hitman 3 on cloud streaming on Switch.
That's only next year. Hitman 3.
Hitman 3
It's not out yet.
but Control is.
7 as well.
Yep. Has any of our Switch owners given any of their cloud games? There are a couple other ones that were available in Japan, but not here. Any of our Switch owners given any of those a try?
I
Not
haven't
yet.
tried it, but I saw someone playing Control and they were put at 1,143rd in the queue to play it. So I thought I'd maybe pass on trying Cloud on my Switch.
Doesn't do you too much good to offer, hey, new fun cloud thing. You just got to wait 12 hours. That's the equivalent of having a huge patch to download or whatever else. So you just like, no, cloud, now. Play now.
Yeah.
Play now on
Do
cloud.
you think that'll improve in time, though? Or with this?
See, I was wondering whether that was huge demand or whether that's just they had limited capability or both.
6-1.
Probably Nintendo always underestimates tech. So it's probably limited capability with Nintendo.
Yep.
This is kind of par for the course with them.
But hey, more. What is it? What is it? I always say, Dan.
Rising tide lifts all boats or something.
Everybody's trying to remember my own catchphrases.
The word tide didn't make sense when I said it in my head. So
I feel like we got quizzed.
Yeah. And what are we the number one? No. So ultimately, Nintendo has not made a lot of overtures toward cloud. There's Nintendo Switch Online, but you're still kind of basically just downloading like the games that you get off of that. So for them to make larger overtures into this space, a lot of people own a Switch. A lot of people. And so heck, Stadia app on Switch one day. I'm saying it's an NVIDIA Tegra chip in there. We know it could be done. You can do it on a Chrome browser on your potato. So
does this technically mean? I mean, say for example, a game that was coming out not natively on the Switch, could they actually stream it, or is there licenses in play to say, you can't play this on the Switch?
For Stadia or in like cloud gaming general purposes?
A game in general. So, if a game wasn't natively coming out on the Switch, but then someone managed to get it to be able to stream.
From my understanding,
the
games that you're streaming aren't actually Switch games. They're PC games that are being...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So like Control and Hitman won't be Switch games. They'll be PC games that are being streamed.
Yeah. The Switch doesn't exactly feature ray tracing. So ray traced Mario, that would be adorable.
So, is that what you mean, Dan?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, with it being streamed, they don't necessarily have the what's the word? Like the holdbacks that you would normally have from Switch. Obviously, Switch only has, so powerful, hard disk space and graphics capabilities. So as long as it can display a stream, you're not bound by the limitations. That was the word. Of the Switch.
My only thing about the Switch is the Wi-Fi chip is notoriously poo. Like, it's
it
bad.
downloads at like 0.7 megabytes a year. It's
but you're like
bad.
even when when I first had a Switch and I was playing Mario Kart, and you just be like, I just randomly lose connection, and you'd be like what? My internet's fine, but the Switch's Wi-Fi chip is just like I can't do it. So I'll be interested to see like how I'll test out Control. I haven't tested it yet. And I'll see what it's like. But
isn't there supposed to be some sort of new Switch hardware coming out at some point soon? So
it's been rumored for years.
Yeah. There's always the next thing in development, but Nintendo sometimes stuff leaks, but for the most part, it's like, oh, and now this thing is here. So we'll see. Well, you can check out all of the latest news at StadiaSource.com, your number one source for Stadia news and reviews. I put a spell on you, and now it's time for the hot topic. Did you like that? That was it. You gotta give me that one. You gotta give me that one.
Beautiful.
Literally in the outfit.
Can I ask that we dress up every week for the podcast?
I don't know. It took my wife a long time to make my makeup. To do my makeup.
I wear a cowboy hat every episode. What are you talking about?
He's always a cowboy. I mean, I have the other sisters' wigs here as well, if I need them. But it is Halloween, All Hallows Eve in just a couple of days, and we wanted to take some time tonight as our hot topic to talk about scary games and scary gaming, in particular the scary games that are on Stadia. But we'll talk the scary games beyond that, and who better to talk scary stuff on Stadia with than our guests, who are known for scary gaming, both on the streaming side and the creating side, as well as scary fiction on the NoSleep side. So just to kind of mention, Stadia does have a lot of scary or scary adjacent thrillery or whatever games, Dead by Daylight being probably the most the top of the charts on that one, but also Guilt, which was a launch title, Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek, Hello Neighbor Engineer, Hello Neighbor Endgame, Hello Neighbor Ultron War, the Metro series, Metro Exodus, Metro 2033, Metro Last Light, Zombie Army 4, certainly it's a zombie game, so you'd think that would have a little bit of scary elements. You can even look at the older Dooms, when they were less adventure-y and more scary-y, like Doom 2016 on the platform. I mean, you're literally going through hell, so that is certainly frightening to some folks. So Stadia has a share of scary games, maybe not all the scary. Did I miss one? Anthony's giving me this look like I missed something.
I personally think you missed the scariest game on Stadia.
Cake Bash?
Little Nightmares.
Little Nightmares.
Little Nightmares.
Almost terrifying.
I had it on my list, and I had it on a different list that I wrote down. And
that game is yes.
So clearly, a lot of space for scares on Stadia, and of course, the perk of cloud gaming is you can play that scary game on your TV with all the lights on, or you can play that scary game hiding under the covers, or anywhere in between with Stadia there. Crowe, I'll start with you. You're a person who regularly streams horror games, and you kind of talked a little bit at the top about it, but tell us more about, what is it about horror games in particular that capture you and make you want to share them with the world?
Like, I guess if you could see behind me, I'm a nerd. I love horror.
Welcome to the panel.
Yeah, it's just that thing. But for me, horror has always been like a cathartic thing. It's a safe fear. The boogeyman can't get you. You can turn off the TV and you can passively, if you get too much, you just look around and there's the person sitting next to you. But with a horror game, you're there. You are controlling this. You're not passively watching a person go down that endless flight of stairs. You are making the choice to go down that endless flight of stairs. And I've been a lifelong horror fan. I read them, I watch them, I play them. And there's something about games in particular, horror games, that is just, it breaches that kind of audience disconnect that we have through literature or through film. Because we're not a passive audience member. We're actively in the story. It wasn't just James Sunderland exploring the town of Silent Hill 2. It was me with him over his shoulder, terrified by the person I was supposed to be safely traveling with. And for me, that's really where horror, especially horror games, that's what it is for me. And it's this catharsis. It's this way to look at all the uncontrollable, scary things in the world, and for a few hours have a moment to just be able to slay them myself, or walk through them and emerge on the other end of it unscathed and okay. It's a wonderful expression of the genre.
I think I made it until the first siren went off in the first Silent Hill, and the dog started coming at me, and I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm good. Thank you.
I remember playing Friday the 13th, the LGN game on NES. That was my first horror game, and then
I had recurring nightmares about that game. You just sparked something in my brain. When I was a kid, I used to dream that I was playing that game, and I got so scared that I turned off my NES, and it kept playing. Yep. And so then I turned off the TV, and it kept going, and so I unplugged the TV, and it kept going. Wow.
Yeah, that game was, you entered a cabin and that cabin music started. No matter how confused you were, the second Purple Jason showed up, you were crapping yourself. Like, it was terrifying. And then I remember my next real step was if anyone remembers Comp USA, I'm dating myself incredibly, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it's where I got all of my laptops.
Comp USA had a demo for, what was it? Is that Don't Be Afraid of the Dark? Or Afraid of the Dark, I'm sorry. For Afraid of the Dark. And I remember being scared just in the middle of a brightly lit Comp USA. And then Resident Evil hit, and I was like, yes, we're doing this. And then it really turned for me with Silent Hills 1 and 2 and Fatal Frame. Those were the games that really, for me, were like, okay, we can do something special with the genre in this medium.
and Olivia, you've not only played a lot of scary games, you're also a creator of games. What is different about writing for or creating a world that is supposed to scare the player from developing on other kinds of titles?
It's very how to describe it. So the biggest challenge when you're trying to scare somebody interactively is keeping in mind that they are creating the pacing. So you need to create an experience where no matter how the player approaches it, you're engaging them with fear throughout the whole thing. For me, that was not quite so hard because they're adventure games, so you can sort of nudge the pacing a little bit. But looking at some other horror games, like the way developers do it, especially the way they use sound design to control the pacing, to let the player choose how they're going to be scared without the player realizing that that's what they're doing. It's such a complicated and rewarding way of doing game design. Like, it's like there's everything that normal games have, and then there's just this extra element that you've got to create fear that the player is controlling themselves. And it's just like, I think it's the most exciting form of games medium, because there's just so much that can be done with it. Like, look at the difference between, say, Amnesia and Dead by Daylight. They're vastly different games, and they can both create fantastic horror experiences. And there's just so much that can be done in games with horror. So as a horror creator and a game creator, the two things just come together so well for me. Like, that's absolutely the direction I want to keep going in as a game developer. And looking at what other people are doing, even from like the most basic asset flip indie game on Steam to a big AAA title. There's something to admire in basically every horror game out there. There's some degree of like skill to admire in how someone creates interactive fear.
It also,
Go ahead,
sorry,
Crowe.
if I could just add on a little bit to this. There's a wonderful thing that games can do that a movie can't or a book can't, and that is pervert our expectations with how the game plays. Like, I often think of the original Amnesia, where you spend the first 2 hours and it's like, oh, spooky, the lights went out. Oh, spooky, that door opened. And then you hit the water level and you know fear. And they completely turn what you think the game is. And they use everything you've learned about how to play it against you, the gamer. Like, later on, when you're afraid to, you need the candles to see where you're going, and it eases the tension, but then you realize later on, oh God, I've been lighting these things and now everything can see where I am.
There's something to, you've got the visual aspect, but Olivia, you were just talking about the sound aspect of it as well. And Dom, I'll take this to you. Thinking about, Dead by Daylight is a perfect example of a horror game where sound is almost a part of it's a player along with you, because as the killer, you're listening to see where those survivors are. As the survivor, you're listening to see what you can get, such as the horrifying humming sound from the huntress, or the heartbeat that kicks on when those killers are near. So sound becomes a huge component of what is going to scare you as well.
Yeah, I agreed. Like, as you said, like, killers have their own. A lot of the killers, the devs are introducing more and more unique, I don't know how to call them, heartbeats, I suppose. So each killer will have their own
radius.
Terror radius. They're like aura. So like, they've started with like Hillbilly and stuff. He's now got his own one. Doctor's got his own one. Huntress she was the first to really have her own, because she did her humming, where she sings a song basically. And it's interesting. The more, if she didn't find anyone for a while, the humming would kind of get more angry, so her tone would change in her voice, which would then freak you out as well. And like all the music within the game, like when you're being chased, the music changes. When you're injured, the music changes. At the end of the game, the music's different. It's all like immersing you in that experience. As someone who's played a lot of that game, I'm not really scared by it anymore. But I remember when I first played, I was terrified. Like, you'd be just crouching around in some corn, and there'd be this maniac with a chainsaw running at you, and you were just screaming. But now I'm just sort of laughing at them and like playing with them. But yeah,
I always love looking up and realizing Michael's been staring at you, like sucking your energy, like the entire time, and you've just made him super powerful.
There are still some
time.
some jump scares and stuff. So like Myers has like a different build. I'm not going to get too much into it, but he can do where he basically will come out of nowhere basically and have no terror radius at all. So you'll be walking around and he'll just come out of a door and hit you, and it is terrifying when that happens.
I mean, I only played somebody paid did a super chat to get me to play it during a 12-hour stream that I did, and I'm just going through the tutorial and hearing the heartbeats and the scary music, and I'm like, oh god, I don't want to do this. Like I'm very much a scaredy cat, and I'm not at all in this. Anthony, I know you've enjoyed some of the kind of more the indie games on the smaller games on the platform like Hello Neighbor and Little Nightmares that still, even in a small package, put in quite a bit of scare.
I'm telling you, man, Little Nightmares. So here's the thing. So Dead by Daylight is cool because it's a more fast pace, it's teamwork, it's real methodical, right? So the whole thing is we could only escape if we fix a certain amount of generators. Then the door opened, there you go, right? And so as I'm trying to fix a generator, the killer comes, oh my god, right? And you're scared. Something about same thing with Mr. Wilson. Hello Neighbors. Nickname with Mr. Wilson, the guy. You run in and he's chasing you, turn around, right? But it's something different about Little Nightmares. You're this teeny tiny character just walking. And it'll be times where the characters don't even see you, right? The enemy, and he's like gotta be, I don't know, 30 times bigger than you. And you'll see him in the background. You're like, whoa! It just really shrink down how teeny you are. And he's got a big cleaver chopping meat, right? And then it's just so creepy and airy, and it's so dark. And you're this teeny little character. Like you feel that is nothing I can do. That for me. Then when you're getting chased, you're running and this thing is huge and it's trying to smash you. And so you have this feeling of there is no escape. If I get caught, I'm done. And even when you die, you come right back and you get it because it's a puzzle. You got to figure out different puzzles. And that adrenaline rush with the creepy looking dirty walls, really dark. And then you got a little flashlight. So you pull out your little flashlight in a pitch black room. All of a sudden, a flashlight will pop up. You see these slug looking things that just start coming towards you because the light came on. You turn off the light like, oh my god, man.
That game feels like Jim Henson, early 80s Jim Henson made a video game. It's wonderful. Yes.
Like Dark Crystal type feel.
Yep.
Skeksis and Dan, I know you've enjoyed quite a few of these games on the platform as well, and Stadia really does represent an opportunity to bring them to a wider audience, if only because that portability and being able to play on any screen and kind of take it wherever you go does really open it up to hiding under the covers or whatever else. What about the scary games on Stadia really rattles your bones? Ha ha ha. Those of you here on the audio can't tell what we just did. Go to youtube.com/StadiaVerse.
I mean, we've had quite a few of the scary games as free pro games, or if not, very, very, very cheap. And I mean, having them as pro games, it's opened me up to games that I probably wouldn't normally have tried if they weren't for free. Not because I'm scared of them. I'm gonna admit something here, and this is gonna make me sound like I'm trying to be hard, but I'm not. Like scary games don't really scare me that much, and I wish they did. It's something that I you know what I mean? If I want to pick up a game and be scared by it, but most games just don't get me. I can usually tell when they're going to try and jump scare you or something. Like you just learn to pick up the signs, don't you? Really?
Yep.
And I mean, my first
that music just randomly stops for no reason that something's about to get you. Like
Yeah,
you,
but
Or
it's
the
like if you watch
autosave
a horror-
icon appears.
you pass by a healing station and a save point. You're like,
Yep.
no.
Yeah,
Dan,
I mean,
you-
films have started to do it, whereby, for example, there'll be a build-up of suspense, and then all of a sudden they'll open that door and there'll be nothing there, and they'll go, and then all of a sudden they'll turn around, and that's when it scares you. And everybody expects you to get scared when the door opens, not when they sigh of relief because nothing happened at that, if you know what I'm trying to say. So I've learned to kind of guess where they are. And I mean, my first, I guess you could say, horror game was Resident Evil 1 on the PlayStation 1, and I was still in primary school at the time, so you know what I mean, I wasn't old. And I remember just kind of not really being that scared by it. I've not really been scared by games since. Like I said, not for want of trying or wanting to be scared. I think that I do appreciate, like, for example, the Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 2 remakes that came out this year and a couple of years ago. I mean, Resident Evil 2, for example, when you're walking around, you know what I mean, the police station and it's all dark and you can't see something, I think I really appreciate the efforts they went into that, but I don't know. I want to be more scared than I am.
To expand upon your point, if I can,
Yeah.
because I agree with you. As a horror streamer, it's 1 out of every 10 games maybe gives me something more than like a few quick startles. I think it's because games ape film, and games are a completely different medium, and there's only so many jump scares you can pull. Work on how audience interaction can be twisted, how our immersion, because we got our headphones on, we're staring tunnel visioned into the screen. I think that game developers need to stop looking at films as inspirations and start looking at their medium as a whole and go, what tools do we have to instill a new type of fear?
I mean,
I
if you've ever
100%
played
agree with
Left
this.
4 Dead, Left 4 Dead, for example, and you can hear the witch going
Mm-hmm.
like "Ooh," from the distance, and you're like, that scares me.
Games shouldn't try to be films because they are strong enough to stand by themselves as their own thing. And games should try and be games. And yes, there's things to learn from horror films for horror games, but there's so much more. And Crowe is exactly right. Developers need to stop thinking about how can we make a horror film interactive. They need to think, how can we make a horror game?
Because you're going to be with a horror movie for 90 minutes, but you could be with that horror game for 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours. And if you've done all the jump scares you got in the first 5 minutes, yeah, I know. It's every time. So I played, I tried Resident Evil back in the day. Of course I did. And of course, you're in that creepy house, and then you got to go up a staircase. So then it cuts to a cutscene of just walking up the stairs one at a time till you get to that door, and you open the door. And that I knew something horrible was going to happen as soon as that door opened, because of course it is. Why would they close that off to me? And then you walk in and the dogs jump through the window. Or
I mean,
whatever.
it was a limited capability of the console at the time, but it worked so well, like in creating that suspension.
Well, it's something like I think one of the most successful horror games I've played recently is the least scary in terms of traditional scares, and that is Frictional
Barbie's
Games'
Dream Pets 4.
It's Frictional Soma, and if none of you have played Soma, there's choice mechanics in the game, and there's a morality system that doesn't play into the game at all. What it does is it plays onto the player. And I streamed it last year, and I was doing very particular things because I played the game and I understand my own ethics and morality. I know what's going on within the world and how I want to interact with it. And my chat freaked the hell out at what I was doing. They were so horrified by what I was doing to the cute little robot on the bottom of the ocean. And then by the end of the game, they were all horrified that I didn't do it more. And my first time through was like, I realized certain things I had done so callously because I needed to do them for the game to progress. I honestly had to do this, and the game doesn't give you any information about context with what you're doing. I looked back at what I did, and I was horrified, like objectively horrified that I did something so callously because I'm used to it in a game. This is how games work. And I think it's that interaction, and I think the horror games that work the most, when people talk about Amnesia, they always talk about how great the scares are and the big jumps. And for me, it's more of how they mess with my expectations in terms of scares, and then how they actually bring their mechanics into the scares as well. And that's, that's a genius move. And Soma just threw it's like a 5-minute scene about 3/4 of the way through the game. And I was slack-jawed at everything I had done leading up to this moment and what it all actually now meant.
I have to play this.
It's so good.
I haven't
It's the
played
best.
this one yet. I really need to play it. That sounds so good.
It's the best Philip K. Dick story the man never wrote. It is pure existential, Kafka-esque dread at the bottom of the ocean.
I think I need to play that this weekend.
It's like a 6 to 8 hour experience maybe, but it's worth your time. It's a thinking man's horror game.
You get the best of recommendations right here on the Stadia
good.
Source Roundtable Podcast. Stadia or otherwise. That's what we always say.
Yeah.
Dom, jump
Bring
in.
Soma to Stadia.
There you go.
Bring
That's
Soma to
what
Stadia
we
now.
say. Every dream.
Bring it.
Crowe, did you find Phasmophobia scary?
I haven't played Phasmophobia because my PC did this thing where it jumped off a cliff, and I'm like, I'm a console streamer as it is, so I have not had a chance to play Phasmophobia. I've watched a little bit. I kind of want to dive into it on my own because it looks amazing.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, Phasmophobia is you play as like a ghost hunter, and you will pick a mission, generally with friends or with randoms. It's better with friends. And you'll have like a list of places you can go. It can either be like a house, or it can be a farmhouse, or it can be a school or an asylum. And you'll have basic information about like a ghost's name, and you'll have some various tools that you have to go in. And you'll have like a flashlight, and you basically have to detect where that ghost is in that building. And then you'll have various objectives. But how the game works is it's done on voice recognition. So you have local chat and you have like global chat to like a radio your colleagues, whatever. So you can't play on Discord or anything. You're supposed to play purely in the game, and you have to like say the ghost name and you interact with it. And it's one of those games that I can't predict when stuff's going to happen because there's no set pattern. So each ghost interacts differently. There's different types of ghosts, and like there might be in like a classroom one time, or they might be in like a gym hall. And they'll throw things, or they'll interact, or you have like it's an amazing game. Anyone that likes horror games, pick up Phasmophobia on Steam. It's incredible.
I think RNG systems are maybe the next big thing with horror games. I've been playing Monstrum, and I know it's like it's an older game. It's been around 2 or 3 years. I shouldn't say it's older, but it's got every time there's 3 different monsters you could get, and then every time you die, it's permadeath. So you start over. And the ship layout changes, the layout of items change, and there's just a panic because when I first booted it up, I didn't know how many monsters there were, and I'm like, oh god, what is it going to be this time? And then it's where is this one thing I need? Where is the exit point? And I think RNG can bring actual fear back to games because they get stale after. I played Dead by Daylight for probably a solid 2 years, and that game, not any bit of it scared me by. A week or 2 into it, because it's like every match is occasionally you get a really good Michael, and then I'd start screaming like a little girl because that really good Michaels are the most horrifying things in that game. Yeah, when you've been working on your generator, it pops, you look up and you turn around, the guy's 4 feet away from you and he's been there the whole time, and then he goes into his like ultra kill mode and you're like, all right, I'm dead, this sucks. But I think RNG, because the greatest horror is the fear of the unknown.
Sorry, just quickly, that's the other thing I was going to say. Cromwell, who people don't know, is the publishing director of Larian, did a great thread on Twitter about fear, and he basically said fear is a deterrent. It works well, but as soon as you see it, the entire thing's kind of ruined.
Yep. Because
he was saying about like Alien Isolation, he got killed by the alien, and it just wasn't scary after that because he's seen.
Yep.
Like the whole point of like being scared of something you can't see, that's what drives the fear. If anyone hasn't, go on.
Oh no, it's just because it's the fear of death in a game. Like it's always bad when you get killed in a horror game and then you just go back to the checkpoint you went back to 5 minutes ago, and you don't lose any of your items, you don't lose progress. I think because horror movies, horror literature, horror everything is almost our ways of kind of exercising our fears of death. It's working through that the very notion that we were all going to end. And what's the one thing that I think everybody fears is the untimely violent death. So when you die in a video game and then you come right back, you no longer fear death because you've conquered it. And I think permadeath systems and things like that could really be instrumental in bringing, I think, horror games into the future. Because we're still stuck on 10, 15 years ago.
Go ahead, Anthony.
No, I just
As
want to
we're
ask
wrapping up
Crowe,
here.
have you ever played Hunt Showdown?
No, I want to.
I think this is the most underrated game. I literally just heard about this game maybe 6 months ago. And I gameflied it because this guy kept saying, you got to play it. And from playing the tutorial, I didn't even finish the tutorial. I said, I'm buying this game right now. And I ended up having a digital copy and a gamefly copy. But I think what you're saying about randomization is kind of cool. So what I was saying earlier, what I like is the genre of this battle royale, right? So the way Hunt Showdown goes is you get a character, and if that character dies, he's gone.
Yep.
Right. So whatever stuff you have on that character is also gone. So here's the catch-22. It's a solo, duos, or trios, right? And you start off. You're walking around and everything is like 1949-ish or whatever. So you got old looking guns and everything is like, the setting is awesome. So as we're walking around, our mission is to find, we have 3 clues, and then we'll unlock a creature we have to beat, this big creature, right? And every time you play, you never know what creature it is until you unlock it. However, to get the clues is real creepy. So you hold down like the R1 button, you put your hand out, and then all of a sudden everything turns dark and you see these like firefly looking things in the distance. And that's where you have to go. You get closer, turn to this big beam of light. You look on the ground, you do like a little seance and like show like the ground fall in. And then that's one clue. You go to the next clue. But as you're trying to find it, it's creatures around. So it's zombies, dead dogs. I mean, that alone, you never know. Like, I remember the first 10 times I played it, I'm walking in the water, right? All right, no big deal. I got to get over there. And then by the 11th time, I'm walking in the water and something started bubbling. I'm like, what the heck is that? And like tentacles start coming. I'm like, oh my God, get out the water. Now when I play, I'm like, dude, don't go in the water. Like, that was so random. So anyway, I'm going to throw the caveat. So you do your second, third thing, you find out where the creature is, and it could be a big spider creature, it could be this big dude that throws fire, right? And it is always in a small setting, like a barn, you got to fight him, right? Here's a caveat. As you're doing this, there's another team out there doing the same thing. And they could say, we're going to, because you could hear, again, Avery was talking about hearing is real powerful in these games. So they could decide, you know what? We're going to wait till he kills the creature, and then they go and kill you. Because the whole thing is, when you kill the creature, you have to do something to
extract, right?
Yeah, you got to extract. You got to do something to his body. You get the whole thing is about getting the thing from the body, but then you have to make it out. So it isn't done because you killed the creature. You actually have to make it to extraction point and wait like 30 seconds. So they could track you down and kill you at the thing. You have the standoff. So not only do you got to worry about zombies, creatures, dead dogs, whatever, sound, but then you got to worry about the clues, getting and killing the creature. But then you got to worry about somebody else is out there trying to get you. Or they can mind, because they can mind their business, because sometimes it end up being more than one creature, right? Sometimes you're doing the clues, and then you may do 2 clues and say the third clue I'm done, and then all of a sudden you get the third clue and you're not done. You're like, wait, what's going on? You show it in a second bar that, oh, I just did 2 clues for that one creature and 1 for that one, and it's random, so you don't know. It's
I
awesome.
love the idea of permadeath too in a game, because nothing would scare me more than I've spent 10 hours with this perfect character. I've pumped every point I could get into them. I've bought them the best stuff, and then 2 seconds into the next round, you're dead, and it's all gone.
And it's also leveled, so you can have a character that's level 34, and if he dies, he's gone.
That's terrifying, because like I played the what was I playing? It was the game Perception, where you play as a blind character, and at one point, like there was no real threat throughout the game. I was able to get through most of it unscathed, and then I hit a point and an enemy came out that I wasn't expecting. I was killed, and it just started me right up before the encounter. And I was like, oh, so I can just run through here knowing that I'm not going to have to worry about anything. And it's just because I've played probably 30, 40 horror games this year on stream. Like it's a ridiculous amount. And
Friday the 13th?
I kickstarted Friday the 13th. I was one of the backers. I got a really nice tin out of it.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I adore
like
that
it.
game. That game created
Yes.
perfect chaos. You know, it
Yes.
might have been broken all
I
over,
love
but
that game.
Yes.
especially when it first started, please, Gun Media, if you're looking at this right now, please bring back team killing. It was the scariest damn thing, knowing that I
Yes.
could be killed for the boat part that I have in my hand by someone who I thought was a friend.
Yeah.
And then and hopefully these are games that we end up getting a Stadia because
Bring them on
we
Stadia.
love the more the better. Well, thank you guys for a fantastic hot topic tonight. If you at home want to participate in the hot topic, head on over to our Twitter at Stadiasaurus, where we're posting the hot topic poll, which basically, what do you think about scary games? Are they for you? Are they not for you? Maybe you're a scaredy cat like me. It's not your thing. Let us know in the hot topic poll, and let us know in the comments of that poll what your favorite scary game is, whether it's on Stadia or not. At Stadiasource on Twitter. Olivia, Crowe, thank you so much for being on the round table tonight. It was such a blast to have you. Olivia,
Thank
if
you.
people want to find you online, where can they go?
Okay, so my work and the podcast would be at the NoSleep.podcast.com, where you can check out our weekly shows. We release an hour-long podcast for free every week, and you can subscribe to get another 90 minutes roughly of content every week. Our Halloween special is going out on Halloween on Saturday. That's 3 hours of free Halloween fiction for everybody, and we're live streaming on YouTube between 3 and 6 p.m. EDT, I think, if you want to catch up with the team, see what we're doing. Or you can find me on Twitter at HorrorLivia.
Fantastic. So glad to have you. Crowe, if people want to find you online, where can they go?
Oh, man. You can find me on Twitter, dark_Crowe with an E. That's WE_. You can find me on Twitch under Dark Crowe. I think that's with a lowercase c. You can find me on the Rotating Chair podcast. We put out an episode a week. We've put out a lot this month. We actually have an episode dropping tonight about Alien Resurrection, and then we are recording our 4 months worth of exhaustive research and rewatching the Halloween series. So we are going to do a particularly huge deep dive. If you are a fan of John Carpenter's Halloween, we are going to give you stories and exclusives and things that you have never heard or seen before. That'll be up on October 31st on Halloween. And once again, that's the Rotating Chair on Twitter, and Rotating Chair Podcast is probably the easiest way to find us on YouTube. And we do interviews with some. We're big into the horror stuff, and we're big into the independent scene. So we have a few interviews with writers, directors, actors, people affiliated with the genre. So I stream 5-6 nights a week. So you can usually find me at about 10 p.m. Eastern on Twitch doing something weird.
Fantastic. Sounds like you got at least one new subscriber in the form of Dom over there.
Hey, please.
I
check us out.
absolutely adore the Halloween series. Like
Saturday, it should be up.
The latest one, the like new remake, whatever. I've seen it literally about 10 times. I absolutely love it.
I'm kind of going through everything again, and I just went through Curse of Michael Myers, which is Halloween 6, and I'm so much of a dork, and this is how exhausted we're going. I have watched Curse of Michael Myers and the Curse of Michael Myers producer's cut far more than any human should possibly ever watch these. This is not good for your health, but I'm doing it for you all. So please check it.
Well, fantastic. Well, thank you both for being on tonight. And you can also check out their links. Are going to be in the description box if you're watching us on YouTube, or in the description box on your pod catcher. You can catch the Stream Team Dream Team playing live right here on the Source Feed Live all week long. Charm City's Community Play on Sundays, Scarlet's Ready Gamer 1 on Sundays, All Purpose Champs Power Hour right there on Wednesday, Power Hour Plus on Wednesdays, F-Tendo's Dad Time Gaming, or no, I'm sorry, you're on Thursdays. You're after the podcast now, or did you move back to Wednesdays?
No, tonight.
tonight. Catch him tonight, Power Hour Plus tonight. And I got to update my show notes. And Ftendo's Dad Time Gaming on Mondays, as well as Dawn by Daylight and other awesome stuff from Blue Bob's, the Gaming CPA. And you can check them out as well. If you are watching us live, we super, super appreciate every single one of you who jumped in the chat, said hi to us. Jem and Dr. Spaceman and Rock and Dist and Charles and all those good folks. We're so glad that y'all dropped in with us tonight. If you are one of those amazing folks with that little thank you by their name, we want to say thanks to you as well. We thank our supporters in the crystal tier, the platinum tier, the gold tier, the silver tier, the bronze tier, and that one guy that bought us coffee. And all of our past patrons and YouTube supporters as well, which we do really appreciate. You can learn more about becoming a supporter, that join button down below. And also at the very bottom, there's a little link that says Meet the Team. Click on that if you want to follow all of our Stream Team Dreamers, Dream Team Dreamer, right on their personal social media feeds or their channels. Roundtable, so glad to chat with all of you about this super spooky, scary stuff. Again, I made my face big and I didn't want to do that. Dan, so glad you had the guts to be here tonight. Or lack thereof. Dom, I'll say ahoy to you.
Ahoy.
And Anthony, kill. Say goodnight to you as well. Terrifying, absolutely terrifying. If you are listening to the podcast, you can join us live most Thursday evenings right here on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can download our podcast on Spotify, Pocket Casts, and wherever else you get podcasts. You can follow Stadia Source on Twitter at Stadia Source. Like us on Facebook. I wasn't kidding last week. You've got just a few days left to vote. Go do it. And join our Discord at stadiasource.com/Discord. You can even wear Stadia Source on your person by going to stadiasource.com/merch. The music at the top of tonight's spine-tingling show was Funhouse by Coyote Hearing, of course. Hosting for StadiaSource.com generously provided by Rock. You can find out more about the technical expertise provided by Rock at rokk.co.uk. If you haven't already, down below this episode is a thumbs up button that lets you know you like the show, and right next to it is a subscribe button that lets you know every time we post a video. You can also become a member of Stadia Source channel by clicking the join button down below, with great perks at every level of your budget. Thank you for joining the Stadia Source Roundtable, and have a terrible, terrible night, and a happy Halloween!